This is Mission Control Houston, where we are live preparing for the installation of the Cygnus cargo spacecraft for the Northrop Grumman CRS-19 cargo resupply mission. Earlier this morning at 5:52 a.m. Eastern Time, NASA astronaut Woody Hoburg used the robotic arm on the space station to successfully capture the Cygnus spacecraft. Now, teams here in Mission Control Houston are going to work to install the spacecraft to the nadir or Earth-facing port of the Unity module. We are providing live coverage of Cygnus's installation. Thank you for joining us. This is Mission Control Houston. The International Space Station is flying just south of Madrid. This is a cargo spacecraft that originally launched at 8:31 p.m. Eastern Time on Tuesday, August 1st, as part of a contracted commercial resupply mission that is delivering over 8,200 pounds of important experiments, hardware, and supplies to the crew living and working in space right now. After a successful spacecraft separation and orbital insertion, both solar arrays on the Cygnus spacecraft successfully deployed. The vehicle conducted a series of burns that brought it to the International Space Station. Once there at its capture point, NASA astronauts Woody Hoburg and Frank Rubio, who are currently on board the International Space Station, worked together to capture the Cygnus spacecraft using the space station's robotic arm. NASA astronaut Woody Hoburg was prime, with Frank Rubio backing him up for this. At the end of the robotic arm is the lead, the latching end effector, or the hand of the arm. Inside are latches and snares that grabbed onto a grappling target on the Cygnus spacecraft. That concluded our successful capture, and the crew were relieved for their duties for the day. Now the robotic arm is in the hands of the robotic officer here at NASA's Mission Control Center, who will maneuver it to its installation site. They will align it with the berthing port and guide it into its ready-to-latch position. After we have a successful installation of the spacecraft, which we are expecting in about an hour or so, the crew on board will perform leak checks, after which they are scheduled to open the hatch later this afternoon at around 1 p.m. Eastern Time or 12 noon Central Time. They will then start unloading the cargo, and those operations will continue throughout the week. Here in NASA Control, our robotics officer today is going to be Jason Seagram. He is working closely with all of our positions here in Mission Control Houston. Our flight director today, two other positions here who are playing a key role, the visiting vehicle officer and ICE, or the Integration Systems Engineer. They are responsible for monitoring the key systems and operations of this visiting vehicle, the Cygnus spacecraft, and will continue monitoring through its installment on the International Space Station. Right now, the robotic arm is moving, although it is very slowly, so it might be hard to discern on the screen, but you are looking at live views of the International Space Station, that robotic arm attached to the Cygnus spacecraft. You can see a view of one of its solar arrays there. Both solar arrays did successfully deploy during Cygnus's journey. The bottom pinwheel is where those snares actually latched into the spacecraft, and the horizontal bar at the top is what Woody was actually using as his target and his guide for bringing in that robotic arm. Capture went smoothly and successfully. That occurred slightly ahead of schedule at 5:52 a.m. Eastern Time, 4:52 a.m. Central Time.